All right, folks, we're back with another Red and White podcast. And if you hadn't had a chance to listen to our Belk Bowl preview, I suggest you stop and go back and listen to that now. We had Justin Strawn on from Mississippi State's Bully Barkline radio show. He was awesome. He gave us a lot of insight, and I think you won't find a better intro or Mississippi State primer out there, and I think it's worth checking out. But continuing on our Belk Bowl extravaganza, this week we're joined by Miller Yoho of the Charlotte Sports Foundation, and y'all might know him by the Twitter handle @Belk Bowl. So Miller, thanks for joining us.
It is me, the Twitter handle. A lot of people we always say it's a Twitter bot, but there is someone behind it trying to stay relatively anonymous.
Well, I hope we don't out you too bad here.
Do we need to edit the name out of the episode there?
It's a strange enough name that people are going to probably find it no matter what.
Well, so you've done a Reddit AMA. Belk Bowl's pretty active on social media. You're one of the more visible bowl Twitter accounts out there. So aside from being fun, what inspired the Belk Bowl to be so interactive with the fans?
So I joined the Charlotte Sports Foundation as the Director of Communications 2 years ago, and we do a lot of things in town, but we're most known for running the Belk Bowl, helping out the ACC Championship game, and then now the kickoff games. But with the Belk Bowl, we looked at it. It had been run by a few different people, and it had done a really good job, but we felt that with social media, it's really there to kind of be the front line of kind of customer service and building a bowl personality. I really took time to speak with a lot of people I respect. Brooke Haney, who's Travis Haney's wife, she's really good in social media. Talked to her. Talked to Matt Revchek down at Florida Citrus Sports. And what I began to figure out is no one really wants to go to the Belk Bowl. No one wants to go to any bowl at the beginning of the year. They just want to go to the college football playoff. That's all you're thinking about, or you're thinking about a New Year's Six bowl. So what we want to do is create an account that engages people, that's fun, that when your team falls into our pool, that you're beginning to look at which bowl you want to travel to, or figure out what you're going to do with your holiday plans. When you see the Belk Bowl, you already know, hey, these people have really put effort into getting to know us, and that this account really is passionate about college football, and it understands what kind of college football atmosphere is online, and most importantly, we represent Belk in the best possible way. So it's been a growth process. Accounts evolve, but after 2 years, I think I got a pretty good handle on it. There's still some insanity that flows out of my fingers sometimes.
Is it true that the Belk Bowl is in fact far superior to the Russell Athletic Bowl in pretty much every way possible?
Yeah, I mean, they do listen to Nickelback in there. No, that's the oldest joke I just started with randomly. One day, I tweeted that I had an intern, and I changed their name to Russell Athletic Bowl, and had the intern text me, "Yo, do you have any Nickelback? Can I listen to it?" And I screenshot it and tweeted it. And anytime I make a Nickelback joke, it blows up. But he's really, really good at his, and it's a different voice. But I would say Matt and I kind of are the two that tweet the most out there, and we're really fortunate that we're allowed to kind of push the lines at times.
So going off that, how hectic is it dealing with all these different fan bases tweeting at you, say before the selection process even begins?
Yeah, that's something that's been really I think I've been really blessed with, is I have a boss in Will Webb, who's our executive director, who understands social media isn't necessarily there to just sell tickets. We're not just going to throw a link out there. We can build relationships with fan bases. So what that relates to at the selection process is he's kind of allowed me to use the account to gauge fan bases. So it's every day, every 2 days leading up to selection, he's asking me, hey, what are NC State fans saying? What are they doing? And I have a list. I track popular people like you guys. You're big fans of NC State. I'm tracking you the whole year, seeing what you're saying when it comes to the Belk Bowl. But we're able to get a good feel for it. But also, we begin to build relationships with fan bases. Every fan base is different. They range from being a message board fan base to a fan base that only communicates in GIFs on Twitter. So it's trying to figure out who they are, meet them where they are, and kind of tell the story of, we want to give you the best fan experience and the best player experience that you're going to have out there for a bowl.
How would you classify NC State fans and Mississippi State fans? Are they message board fans or GIF fans or what?
See, it's really interesting. Starting with Mississippi State, they've really, when we talked to them, they made a big point with social media because in Starkville they don't have as much traditional media. So to get their message out, they put a lot of time, energy, effort into developing their social media. They do a lot of digital content, and NC State does as well. But that's been a huge focus. Whereas in the Raleigh area, you have a lot more publications. They can lean on traditional media, so you see a lot more fans in for NC State. Maybe a little bit more message board. But what I found is there's a pretty strong Twitter community, and it's just I think there was a lot of uncertainty if they're going to be coming or not. And as it got closer and closer, we could see the NC State fans were very excited, and that's why we made this selection.
So keeping on that, who's been the most persistent fan base this year? Like before the selection, do you have fans begging you?
There's a SB Nation blog down for Texas A&M called Good Bull Hunting, and we've just kind of developed a really good relationship with them. And the past 2 years, we've broken just their hearts. Then there's also you have like blogs like that, but then also you have fan bases. I think everyone's pretty cognizant with Virginia Tech was really pushing to come to the Belk Bowl, and we weren't able to take them, but we got to see a fan base really push, and I've never seen that before in my 2 years. But at the same time, when we selected NC State, we're very excited. We were over the moon, but I'm getting hit with Virginia Tech fans are upset. You just can't respond. But as a fan base, they were tremendous, and they care, they're passionate. But it's just one of those things where you can't really say, "Hey, look, you're going to come one of these years." Just it's cool, But yeah, there's a lot of different types of fan bases.
So what kind of impact does a fan base have on the bowl selection?
Yeah, that's really cool. Where I have my executive director in my office asking me who's saying what we're doing, and if you go back and look, I call it poking the fan base, to steal a Facebook term. But I'll throw out stuff like I think there was a week before selection where I was kind of threw out I made a Wolfpack joke with a hangover gif. I did that again today, but it picked up immediately. We could really see that people kind of like the idea of Charlotte, the Belk Bowl, and we hadn't really talked about it till then. We kind of began to build up steam. So we do really look at what you're saying, and we encourage. We try to respond with everything. I view selection and the time leading up to it just as important as the time leading up to the game.
So if one particular fan base is more active, and let's say we're a bunch of NC State fans and we like to get on Twitter and beg really hard, are we wasting our efforts?
No, not at all. I would say if a bowl has a strong social media presence and someone who's responding or reacting, it's being noted. It's something. Look, we're to be honest, bowls are trying to sell tickets. It's something where we're a nonprofit, but we have to break even, so we have to sell tickets. And it's really important that we register which fan bases are excited and want to come and are passionate about having a great experience in Charlotte. So if you're intelligent, and I would surely hope that most bowls would take this philosophy of use it as a gauge of who you want to select.
I'll give you one chance to take that answer back. Otherwise, you've opened up Pandora's box for Wolfpack Nation in the future years.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I refuse to take it back. I don't sleep much leading up to selection, but I have tons of filters. I try to respond to everything, but I really do measure it. And look, one of these days you guys will run me off Twitter with the amount of tweets, but until then, bring it on.
So can you tell us, about a time in the past when a particular fan base has gone over the top, either trying to get your attention or the aftermath? I know particularly last year's State fans are pretty maybe a little butthurt that we didn't get to go to Charlotte, but has there been
some
other
frustration.
times?
I would say last year, one night, Tennessee really caught on to the idea of coming to Charlotte. And I kind of, as I said, kind of poked the fan base, and I was like, all right, nothing's really happening. I'm going to run to the gym. Well, I can't, I know I'm going to be up late tweeting. And I come, and literally my phone is just won't work. So then, me being a weirdo, it's like, oh, let's have fun with this. So I go and find there was a magazine that had, for lack of better terms, a naked Kim Kardashian on it, and said Kim Kardashian broke the internet. So I just opened up Photoshop, took out Kim, and put a picture of Smokey, their mascot, when he was really cold, and had him on the blanket, and just said Tennessee just broke our internet. And then that really blew up. Like, it got picked up by a bunch of like news stations and things, and that's where I kind of realized like that's the power of social media. Once you begin to get the ball rolling and understand who the fans are, what they're passionate about, and build those relationships, you can really kind of build momentum going into the bowl.
All right, guys, we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back to finish our discussion with Miller and talk some more about the Belk Bowl. If there's one thing state fans do well, it's tailgate. And I know for me, the most important part of a tailgate is a well-packed cooler. You have to ask yourself two questions. How clean is your cooler, and how cold are your drinks? Nobody wants to reach into a dirty cooler and grab a warm beer. Now, I've put rock salt in my coolers for years to try and chill beverages a little bit quicker, but a lot of times I'll either use too little or too much, and I'll have a can filled with slush. I'm also guilty of being a little bit lazy when it comes to cleaning the cooler after I'm finished with it. Then I found Frostbite Cooler Salt. This isn't just salt, it's salt combined with safe and organic ingredients that clean your cooler while it's getting your beer super cold. The really cool part is that it doesn't just clean your cooler, but it cleans everything that goes into it. So when you pull that beer out, it's not just going to be super cold, but the can itself is actually going to be germ-free. And it comes conveniently packaged with the perfect amount to sprinkle over 20 pounds of ice. You can find it in a growing number of stores in the Raleigh area, as well as online if you're outside the Triangle. So check out coolersalt.com, that's COOLER salt.com, to find the closest location to you and see how you can have a clean and cold cooler every time. Frostbite Cooler Salt. Colder, faster, cleaner. So I remember seeing something, I think it was a week or two ago, that said that there'd been more tickets sold for this year than last year total.
Yeah.
Is that
that
kind
is
of
true.
the local team thing, or just the difference in the fan bases, or what's the explanation for that?
Well, I think it's a local team thing, and then I think also last year, at the first year of the college football playoff, no one really understood how the system was supposed to work. And if you look at it, one team got flipped in the rankings with another team, and they hadn't played at all. And because of that, both Georgia and Louisville, who we had last year, we selected them that they had no idea that they would be coming to Charlotte at all. So neither fan base had made those preparations, and that's what kind of reiterated the importance of building these relationships. This year, ticket sales are going strong. We're excited. What I can tell you is I personally, in this next week and a half, I'm going to get on social media and challenge state fans, or NC State fans, to come. There really is no excuse. We know it's a Wednesday, Christmas, or New Year's Eve. It's the 30th, but it's at 3:30, and we all know that you guys are probably going to be watching the game anyway, so go ahead and take the day off. You can make the trip down, make it a day trip, see Carrie Underwood perform for free, support your team, and then you can make it back to Raleigh or stay in the great city of Charlotte overnight.
Is there any way we can get that Carrie Underwood intro?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. As soon as I get to meet her, which is never, I'm sure to send you your contact information.
Well, with ticket sales going the way they are, shouldn't you just go ahead and lock state in for every year unless we're in the playoff?
Yeah, I mean, look, hopefully you can get the Belk Bowl bump and, bump up to the playoff. No, I think you guys are we tracked you from the beginning of the year. It's a tremendous fan base. It's blue collar. It's you're football fans. You're not go out there and tailgate and you're going to win a tailgate and lose the game. You're going to go out there and win the tailgate and win the game and win the after party too. You're the kind of fan base that is passionate about their team. That's why we're bringing you in 2017 for the kickoff game. You guys say you want to paint the city red. Let's do it.
Much better choice than Carolina for that year.
I'm not going to comment on that. I tried to set you guys up. I was not intentional about that, but I'm not there.
There won't be a wine and cheese shortage at grocery stores in Charlotte that week. So that's all I'll say.
All right.
Well, can you give us a little insight into the madness that goes around in selecting bowls and schools and all that junk? I mean, I know it's so confusing for everybody. It's just not cut and dry like it used to be.
Yeah, so let's just speak about the ACC and that selection process. You go your college football playoff teams, and then for some years the Orange Bowl is eligible, and then the years it's just at large, and that could take 10 minutes to explain. But that's college football playoff, New Year's Six. After that, the Russell Athletic Bowl will select a team to go listen to Nickelback with them, and then after that, it enters a pool system where the four bowls and in the conference and kind of schools work together to make selections. And sounds complicated, but it's really actually a whole lot better system. One, because you're not just slotted into a team, and two, because of that, it allows you to bring, one, create compelling matchups, two, to bring fan bases to new and exciting places, or to bring, like your case, bring NC State close to home where they can hopefully sell out the stadium. So that's kind of the process, and it's madness. We didn't know until the day of who we were taking. I didn't know until 3 o'clock. I get a text. I tell everyone in the office. We announce at 3:30. I have graphics made for every possible team ready to post, and we roll from there, and it's just trying to respond to everything. A lot of bowls talk about it, but those first 3-4 days are really important when it comes to ticket sales. So we really try to hit that hard, but at the same time, you want to build relationships with fans where they not just feel like they're getting tickets shoved down their throat with a link, rather it's a relationship.
So do you have different bowls? Say two bowls want one team. Is there an order in the pool, or I mean, how do they work that out?
Well, have you seen what's the second Batman in the new series when the Joker breaks the cue stick and throws it in there and they fight over it? No, that's not what happens. I honestly can't answer that because it's not out of trying to avoid the question. I just honestly don't know. That's on a much higher level than me. And gratefully so. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. So it worked out with Mississippi State and NC State, and I know you even said earlier, you mentioned blue collar for us, and I think they're really close to the same kind of school in general. So could it really have worked out any better to have those two fan bases there?
No, I think it's great. I could not be more excited. And I think the quarterbacks play is going to be fascinating. I think both teams are kind of in a really interesting place with the quarterbacks leaving, but looking into what next year is going to be like, and this can kind of be the step forward. And then there's an interesting thing that most people don't know is the coaches are friends. They apparently had dinner Sunday night and had it planned even before selection in New York. So they go back. It's kind of that relationship, and it's a really unique matchup where we have a fan base who's been here before, who's trying to go 3-0 all time, and we have a fan base who's never been to Charlotte. So it's exciting. It's really perfect.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. I hadn't heard that about the coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a Periscope video of the press conference, and you can see them kind of laughing when they take a picture with the trophy, and like Mullins messing with Doran, telling him to put his dukes up, and they take a picture with their fist up, but they're cracking up the whole time.
I have to look into that. I wonder what the connection is. Do you know?
No idea.
Huh. That's interesting. Cool. Yeah, that's a good little tidbit there.
Bring me on more, guys. I have this. As long as we avoid the confidentiality agreement, we're good to go.
So speaking of that, who do we have to take out to Del Frisco's or a nice dinner to get the policy changed on allowing cowbells?
Look, Mississippi State sent us cowbells as I guess a holiday gift, and
you mean?
I've never touched one. And I'm in my office. It's a nice office, like probably 8 feet, 9 feet by 9 feet, and I just pick it up and like barely move it, and it was one of the loudest sounds I've ever heard. So what I'm going to tell people is lean into it, have fun. There'll be a little surprises, hopefully for NC State fans, in terms of how we can make the game experience great for you. But don't view it as a nuisance. View it as something that this is a really unique college tradition that, we all like college football because there's marching bands, that there's live mascots, that there's these really unique traditions. And this is one of those ones that is just out there. And I say lean into it. Have fun with it. Heck, make your own cowbells. I know you guys are an ag school. You can probably find a way to get that done.
That's exactly right. It's exactly what we said on our last podcast. We're the ag school. We need to embrace it. We need our own cowbells.
The real cool thing about it is they've been so trained that they, for the most part, will stop ringing their cowbells once the ball is set. So they know when to ring and when not to ring. They know essentially the rules of the games to avoid having their team penalized.
That's awesome.
Mm.
So will that actually? I know those are SEC rules for the Bells. Well, do you know if that'll be enforced during the game, or the game here, with it not being a conference game for them?
I believe so. Yes, I think they're just so conditioned that it won't be an issue.
Cool.
So who outside of NC State or Mississippi State, who's your team?
Oh, you wanted me personally?
Yeah.
So I went to Furman University for an undergrad.
Okay.
That's my cop-out answer. No, my family went to Clemson and I went to grad school there. So it's been a very nice year for me. But before this, I worked at a small Division II college, and I learned that they're a bunch of 18 to 22-year-old kids. So I don't get too crazy anymore. I've seen the decision making that they make and the decision making I made, and it's very similar. And I try not to judge them for it.
I think a lot of people need to take that to heart.
Yeah,
for sure.
A big part of our fan base, as a matter of fact. But
Well, good luck to Clemson.
Thanks. It's exciting, but it's crazy. I pretty much watched all their games this year, but I probably watched 5 or 6 NC State and probably 5 or 6 Mississippi State. I watch all the games, so it's just a really cool job to have.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad. I have 2 TVs hooked up. It's a great way to spend a Saturday.
that's fantastic. Yeah.
Just trolling the internet and watching football.
You need an intern by any chance? Well, I don't want to keep you, or we don't want to keep you a long time, but I have one really important question that was kind of set up by events that took place yesterday. So, a team will win, and I know there's going to be a trophy presentation. What are the chances we can get Steve Harvey to announce the winner of the game?
I'm not sure Steve Harvey's ready to go in public on the field.
You have a sort of a PR job. How big of a flub is that?
You know what? I think he owned it the best he could by putting it all on him. I'd recommend anyone to spell check your tweets when you try to apologize.
So he wasn't apologizing to a book in the Bible.
Yeah.
Or Columbia, South Carolina.
But you know what? I think he was, honestly, in working, I love chaos, and I laughed at this, but he handled it the only way you can is being apologetic and, just kind of rolling with it, putting it all on his shoulders, which I think's pretty unique. I would have just run away.
Well, Miller, thanks for joining us, and if there's anything we can do to help you and help ticket sales and keep poking Wolfpack Nation to show up, then please let us know, because we're more than happy to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say 2 things. I'd say, 1, just keep interacting with us. Do you guys have questions about, what to do in Charlotte? All that stuff. We're here to help you. Check out belkbowl.com. Then 2, I think this is a challenge for NC State. We want you guys to see how many Wolfpack Nation are going to show up. Make those cowbells go silent.
What's the record for one school? Ticket sales or number?
We've sold out, but we can't really keep it per school. We have the allotments, so each school has an allotment. But after that, it becomes general ticket sales. We get tracked by zip code, but that doesn't. It's really complicated, and a Mississippi State fan could be from Raleigh, North Carolina. So,
all right, fair enough.
One more question about the game, kind of to help out with people that go. Can you go over the whole parking thing? Is it just a bunch of individual lots and a general time of when they'll open kind of thing?
Yeah, I would. So there's really 2 answers for this. 1, if you're staying overnight, just park your hotel and walk. Charlotte's the perfect city to host this game, because if in Uptown Charlotte you can walk anywhere. And you'll say tailgating, but there's a Carrie Underwood concert, so you're not really going to be tailgating. You're going to be at the concert. And then 2, if you are parking, I would plan ahead of time. I would contact lots. There's a lot around. If you need help, I would recommend contacting the Panthers or reaching out to us, and we'll try to get you straightened out as best as possible.
All right.
Perfect.
And don't expect it to be perfect. It is a middle of a workday for some people who are insane and don't want to go to a college football game.
Lunatics.
I know.
There can be people working. Parking could be terrible as long as it's not as cold as it was when we played Louisville there the last time.
I was there.
Be good. The game was good, but it was so cold. I mean, it was miserable cold.
Wasn't as bad as Duke Cincinnati in 2012. That was the coldest I've ever been.
How was the game?
It was the best punt I've ever seen. Will Monday hit a 79-yard, one out of bounds on the 1 yard line. It also was that famous one where there was that big gambling thing that not Scott Van Pelt, but one of those guys always talks about. That there was that big line swing that a lot of people lost money on. I was there as a fan, not gambling.
It's impressive you remember a punt.
Oh, Google it.
79-yard punt, yeah.
Type in Will Monday Belk Bowl punt, and your mind will be blown.
We'll link to that one in our notes too.
There you go. All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
thank you, Miller.
We really appreciate it. All right, guys, we will talk to y'all next week. Go Pack.